Thank you, Chair. And look, we accept your appearance here before us again today and appreciate your cooperation. Back in September 2020, RTE campaigned on Truth Matters. And I have to assume today all of you in front of us in the Public Accounts Committee are here to tell the truth. But I still can't find where the truth is or how we can determine what the real sequence of events occurred. And certainly that reminds me of a famous line from Theodore Roosevelt in 1912, who said, "Looking for the truth is like nailing jelly to the wall." So from yesterday's committee meeting, and again, we're in public session for the last nearly 2 hours, there is still a lot of facts that are still unknown. And we want even further detail in relation to the sequence of events. So can I ask the CFO, Richard Collins, in relation to your payment to Noel Kelly for services provided during COVID, these were really payments for Ryan Tubridy and Renault. Is that correct? Yes or no?
According to the Grant Thornton report, yes.
Sorry, can I clarify that they had nothing to do with Renault?
Sorry, Ms O'Leary, my questions are directed
Apologies.
to the CFO. You said earlier you needed to consult your notes. Can I ask what is contained within your notes that would have led you to previously stating that?
Sorry, I didn't get your question there.
You said previously that you needed to consult your notes in relation to the questions that we asked previously.
No, in relation to the explanation I gave
Yes.
to Deloitte's.
Can I also ask, do you know where, would you determine these types of payments in a serious manner in relation to their intent? As Deputy Burke discussed around consultancy fees and the obligations around VAT exemptions that were put through a barter.
Yeah, well, we weren't paying, RTE wasn't making the payment there, so VAT wasn't an issue for RTE. It was the Barter company. The invoice was to the Barter company, not to RTE.
The chair of the board
Yeah.
outlined in her initial statement that there was deceitful practices in play here.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
I would, yes.
Would Primetime Investigates call it fraud? Would you agree?
Well, I think we've had legal advice to say that it isn't fraud.
In what context?
Well, I think it's been looked at as part of the Grant Thornton review. Arthur Cox have looked at this and they've given advice or given an opinion, and there is not fraud involved here.
But raising invoices for something knowing that it's not what it is.
Well, it's concealment and deception. Definitely.
And would you not determine that to be fraud? Wrongfully known?
It depends who the fraud is against, if anyone has lost out. I mean, you could say the tax, my own opinion is maybe the taxpayer was defrauded, but
can I ask, what other external contractors did you pay for advice during COVID?
off the top of my head, I'm not aware of any other contractors that were paid for advice. I mean, there would have been, on the IT side, we would have taken advice on setting up, structuring ourselves to work remotely and that, but...
Would you have issued any credit notes during COVID? Similar to...
Not similar to this, no.
So this is a once-off?
Well, it looks like it, yes, yeah.
Can I ask Ms O'Leary in relation to, were you consulted around March 7th or before March 17th about the Deloitte query? No one communicated to you that there was that these issues were being flagged?
No, I was advised by the head of legal and the head of HR that I was going to be contacted by Grant Thornton to engage in a process.
Why didn't the CFO, Richard, why didn't you raise that with the person who was in a position to authorise these invoices?
Raise which?
Well, sorry, is that question to me? Well, I had raised the issue with the person who had approved the invoices, and Deloitte were then put in contact with them to get an explanation.
Can I ask, can I ask Ms. O'Leary, did RTE pay for the 3 Renault events, and how much did that cost?
Yes, if I could clarify before I say that, and I will go straight back to it, is that it's very important to say that Renault were not involved in year 2 and 3. So when you referred to the invoices that went through the Barter company, they had no connection with Renault. So I just want to be very clear about that. Year 1, yes, Renault paid Noel Kelly Management for the 3 events, but ultimately they had got a credit note, so it was cost neutral to them.
And how much was the credit note?
75,000.
And how much were the events that subsequently RTE paid for?
25,000 each for the appearances.
And how much to actually host the events?
The host of the event was 30,586.
And are these events accounted for in RTE's annual audited accounts?
The transactions are certainly recorded in the Barter account, which is now.
Yeah, they are
Finance,
recorded.
so
yes, I can clarify that.
In 2022?
Yes.
Okay, can I ask, just in relation to other events that RTE would host, be it hospitality or events through the Barter account, can you give us some events, recent events that you would have paid for through a Barter account, and the types of events that you would?
So, for example, there was an agency event in a venue in town.
In Dublin?
In Dublin, sorry, apologies. Which was approved on the 28th of
Mr. Collins
January.
referenced 1.25 million euros over the last 10 years through Barter accounts.
Yeah,
Can you give us the top 3?
Well, maybe I can do that because I have the
Expenditure,
details in front of me. I suppose if you're looking back historically now, are you? You're talking, yeah.
2017, 2022.
Say 2019, there was 111,000 for travel and hotels to bring clients to the Rugby World Cup.
Can you identify who them clients were?
No, I can't.
Why not?
Well, not on this report.
You,
here.
Mrs. O'Leary?
I can, but I would have to get their permission. But of course, I know who they were.
It's taxpayers' money.
Yes. And I will get their permission.
Can you give us one more example on the top range?
Yeah, there was 10-year IRFU tickets bought for, they cost through the Barter company 138,000.
138,000 euros of taxpayers' money through a Barter account. Can you give us one more example?
Well, the Champions League final in 2019, 26,000.
Can I just ask the chair of the board, what do you make of what we're being told here today in relation to the transactions in the Barter account?
It's outrageous. It should be something that, if it's, and I have no reason to believe it isn't, but expenditure like that should go through the procurement system. I do believe that that's now been put in place, and it would be up to department heads to validate what to request through the procurement system if they're going to do entertainment or whatever, sporting events and stuff like that scale in order to entertain advertising agencies or whatever.
Can I bring you back to your request to ask the DG for her resignation? Why didn't you call the minister at the time?
As I explained to the minister this morning, when she asked me on Saturday when I met her what was the status with Dee, I said to her that she was suspended and that she was in process, in a disciplinary process.
Did you not think that it was really important information to present to the Minister at the time?
Yes, I do now, but at the time it was a part of a chain of events, and as I explained to her, I apologised to her for not giving her that information at the time.
And why did you go on the RTE 61 news and not indicate that you had actually requested the DG's resignation?
I didn't. I don't think I was asked. I'm sorry, I didn't.
But you mentioned, mentioned disciplinary process.
Yes, because that was
you didn't establish the full facts in terms of what was happening. Do you not feel that that was a huge mistake?
Well, she was in a disciplinary process at that point, and I couldn't start discussing what was in process publicly at that point.
If there was a process in place, why didn't you agree? Why did you agree to go on RTE News when you knew you wouldn't, give a current picture at the time?
I agreed to go on to RTE News to be able to give the information that I had, and under legal advice, particularly pertaining to employees and their rights, that's the legal advice I took.
Thank you. The public position at that point was that she was actually on holidays on that evening. Isn't that correct?
No.